everybody see that, sort of, and it's not that brilliant. I'll try and keep moving so that my back's not to you, as well as trying to do the... Do you want me to press it? Okay. So my name's Devon, and today I've come to speak to you about the makeup artist industry. Now, lads, don't freak out and think, oh, she's going to talk to you about fashion makeup for the next hour. I'm not going to. I think actually the boys will enjoy this just as much as the girls will. So my main job in the freelance world, I work with the army. Now, can any of you tell me why I might be working with the army as a makeup artist?
Camouflage?
Camouflage, a good one, but it's not that, but it, you know, I get what you're thinking with that. Anything else?
Isn't it to get people used to seeing like
Injuries.
Yeah.
Injuries, yeah, getting used to seeing them, that's really good. So, my job involves obviously working with the military. Now that's RAF, Navy, Marines and the Army. I work on amputees, so they're amputee actors, so not all of them are ex-military, some of them are ex-military, but a lot of them are car crash victims, cancer victims, motorbikes. Majority are motorbike accidents, so you know, anyone in here with mopeds, motorbikes, it's really important you're really, really careful, because the amount of people that I work with that are all motorbike related is quite worrying actually, the amount of amputees out there from bike accidents. So the main part of my job, I've summarised it here, but I'm just going to talk through it. We do it to desensitise the medics. So anywhere there's a military camp in the UK, Cyprus, Germany, places like that, I will go to and we will work on the exercises alongside the military. It's a really rewarding job, but it's also really, really hard. I'm treated like a soldier whilst I'm at work, so if they're awake, we're awake. If they're out for 24-hour days, we're out for 24-hour days. If it's snowing, raining, freezing, I'm out in exactly the same conditions as they are. Lots of people think being a makeup artist is really glamorous and you stand there on movie sets, which you can do that as well, but mine is standing in walking boots up to mud in my knees, and it's not that glamorous, but I wouldn't change it for the world. So originally I studied here, did my BTEC here on the media makeup course, and then I left and went to Leicester College to do my foundation degree, and as soon as I left there I got the opportunity to start working with the Army. At first it was, I don't know if anyone got any relations, friends in the Army? Yeah? Royal Marine, okay, that's cool. First of all, a massive shock to me, you know, you get chucked in, there you go, 14 days, off you go. And I didn't know what to expect, I didn't know what I was going to do. Also, when I first met the amputees, that was also really, it was quite daunting. Anybody know anybody that's an amputee? No? So at first I was very nervous at the fact of, can I ask them questions? Are they going to be upset if I talk about, you know, how they lost, you know, their arm or their leg, or how did it happen? When I'm working on them, if I touch there, does it hurt? Because obviously when I'm dealing with, say, a leg amputee, obviously their stump is just you know, it's a wound that's been stitched up and stuff, but all the scar tissue is out. So at first I thought, if I touch there, is it really sensitive? And all these questions running through my mind, and it's quite scary, because you don't know how these people are going to react. After my first couple of days, got to know them, and now we're all like a massive family really, and there's nothing that bothers me about it anymore. They're not bothered by me. So it's a really nice job. Okay, I'm going to show you some pictures of the work that I have done. If you're a bit squeamish, then you might not like it. Okay, I will send them around on the iPad so that you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so this is a neck injury. So mainly, obviously, I'm working on arms that are missing, legs that are missing, normally. but we add the secondary injuries in. So, for instance, let's just make a scenario up. An IED blast. Anyone know what that is? Yeah?
An IED is a bomb used by insurgents and are scattered across.
Yeah, you don't know they're there. Yeah, you don't know they're there. So a lot of injuries that have come from amputations are the IED blast. So once you know, if we imagine us, we stand on something, they've lost their legs, but they're also going to be injured in other places. You don't just stand on a blast and only injure your legs. You're injuring, you have shrapnel wounds all over the body. So I will do injuries like this to add to the effect, the realness really, because you know, you're not going to lose your arm and then have a perfectly clean face. That wouldn't be realistic at all. Okay. Some more there. So this is what we would call frag wounds, fragmentation wounds, and that's the majority of secondary injuries that I would be asked to do. The army will tell us what they want, and I'll just go ahead and do that. When I was at uni, I had to do science, and when I first enrolled on the course, I thought, what's science got to do with my course? I'm sure a lot of you here are enrolled on courses, and then they'll say to you, oh, we're doing this as part of your course, and you'll probably go, well, I'm not doing that. Why do I want to do that for? But actually, in the future, things like that you have to do as part of those extras actually come in handy. So I did biology, so it was playing with animal parts, bones, seeing how a bone would break if I smashed it with a hammer, just so that I knew how a human bone would shatter in real life. And now it's coming handy for this type of work, because I actually know what I'm doing. If I didn't know how to do an injury, the military wouldn't be getting the best training, because it wouldn't look very realistic. So the whole point is trying to make it as real as possible, so that when they do see it for real, they don't freak out. I don't know the exact statistics, but when Iraq was on, and the first war that we had recently, they lost a lot of men, you know, because of amputations, and nobody really knew how to treat it or what they were doing. When Afghanistan started, this training, I wasn't working, this was like 10 years ago, so I was still at school, so I wouldn't have been doing it then, but they started this training with the military, and the numbers dropped dramatically, like they were saving lives rather than losing lives, and that is all to do with, a tourniquet has to go on within 2 minutes, so if you lose a limb, if you don't get that tourniquet on within 2 minutes, you can bleed out, and that'll be the end of the person. So that rapidness of getting, if you don't do anything else apart from stop, does anyone know what a tourniquet is? Okay, it stops the bleed, so it looks like a belt, just like a belt. You know, people do use belts and things like that in real life emergency situations. You tie it as tight as you can, and it shuts off the bleeding, and that will save somebody's life. So when we were first in the training, we still get it now. Medics being sick, people going really quiet, because obviously it's bringing back memories of maybe what they've seen before. So it's not all, I have such a laugh on that work, but actually when it comes down to it, it's not all fun and games. It's not, there is a serious side to it as well. So when Afghanistan was on, in the first 2 years, they were still the same numbers as Iraq. Once this training came in, they started to obviously save more lives. Think of you guys, you're all friends in the classroom, you know, you go to college together. When you're in the army or in the military, you'll get deployed with your regiment, and normally it will be like a group of maybe 20 of you in each regiment. So you're all friends, like you're living together for the next 6 months, you're going to get on with each other. One of you goes down, one of you gets blown up, that's your best friend. Okay, so before this training happened, they, as soon as they saw it, they were just worrying about their friend rather than saying, okay, shut off from that, I need to just focus on saving this person's life. So since this training, that's now happening. So they don't look at that person and go, oh my God, like, I've got no legs, what am I going to do? Which, you know, I don't know how I'd act in that situation. I might do exactly the same. They now go, okay, I'll cry later, but right now I need to save that person's life, and I'll deal with the emotions after I've done that. So does everybody get sort of why I do this work with the military? Yeah? leg wound.
Oh,
Yeah. Quite gruesome, really. Yeah, that's a leg injury. It's a head wound. Now, normally we do work with the police, the ambulance, and the fire as well. So this type of injury here I wouldn't normally be asked to do on a military job. Why do you think that is? What do soldiers wear? Helmets, exactly. So normally, that sort of wound would be more for the ambulance, police service, car crashes, just accidents in workplaces, falling down buildings, anything like that, stab wounds, all sorts of stuff like that. But the military work, I wouldn't really do that because they normally should all have their helmets on majority of the time, so they don't normally get head injuries. Yeah.
Yeah, but a helmet doesn't always stop them from getting hurt.
No, it doesn't. It stops. It stops a head injury. So, for instance, if they got blown up, yeah, that helmet isn't going to save their legs because it's on their head. But if they got shot at towards the head, obviously a helmet's going to stop them getting shot there in that area. So it's only protecting the head area. But normally, obviously, if you're walking and you step on an IED, you're on your feet. You're not on upside down. We're not on our heads, so that's not going to get that affected. Yeah. Okay, this is just some frag to the shoulder. Again, this is an injury that I might possibly do when working with the military, but then again, I might not. It depends. Obviously, they're wearing body armour, and the body armour would sit here. So the only area exposed is sort of this area here. But sometimes, obviously, bullets can ricochet through the body, and they will just come out wherever they want to come out. So that could be an exit wound, for instance. If it's gone in the back shoulder blade, that could come out the front. Okay, so this is Ian. This is one of my friends, Ian. Now, he's a double leg amputee. You probably see it better on the computer screen. If anyone wants to come with a look at that computer screen, you're more than welcome to. He was born a double leg amputee. There was a drug many, many years ago. Well, he's not that, he's about 35. So, I can't, do you know the name of it? Begins with an F. And it was making babies, the mums were getting given this drug throughout pregnancy, and it was making babies born with with limbs missing, or he had one leg missing, but the other leg was really tiny, so they amputated that because, to be honest, it wasn't really doing them any favours being there. So this is actually the Norwegian Army on board a Norwegian Navy ship. So I did an exercise with them. So like I say, it's not just our army. The Norwegian army are very interested in the way we train. The Jordanian army, who else have I worked with? Jordanian army, the Norwegian, Saudi Arabia. They come over, Australians, that was quite recent actually. They come over to get our troops to train their troops, because like America, we are one of the tightest forces in the world. So, they like to get their training from us because we're classed as the best in the business. And there's a head wound. Again, that would probably be used, in other aspects of my work, police, ambulance, stuff like that. This is a full body bend. I don't know if you can probably see that better on the computer. That was actually a soldier that I did that on, and he was found hanging around not doing a lot. So got told, it's okay then, if you don't want to do anything today, you can be a casualty. Yeah, all right, I get out of work, and he ended up coming in, and that's just his top half. He was head to toe in all of that stuff, and let's say he never ever got caught doing nothing ever again. He'd fallen into a Burns pit. That was the scenario that they set traps sometimes. I'm not sure the details, but enemy can set traps, and he'd fallen into this trap onto his front and obviously got burnt from head to toe in the pretend well, it's all pretend, remember. Unfortunately, it isn't pretend in some cases, but when I'm doing it, it's pretend. But obviously, we are doing it for realistic reasons. Okay, so there's Ian again. You can see. So that's actually a picture. If you want to have a look closer, this is actually these prosthetics that he's wearing. These bloody gory things here. I actually make those, and they pull on to the existing amputation. So these are pre-made. So every actor that we have, as soon as they join the company, we make them a prosthetic, and then every time they go on a job, they bring that with them, so that we just put it on, decorate it again, and then they go out. But if I was to make that every single time I worked, it would take me a day's work to actually make that prosthetic, which sometimes I have an hour, sometimes I have 5 minutes to do an injury. So if I was to make those every day, it's not realistic. So the only time they might need fixing if they get broken a little bit, but we can add to it. We don't need to take the whole thing apart, we just add and repair. And this one is quite gory. This one was actually, I was asked to do for, this guy is actually an arm amputee. Obviously one side of his body would have been completely, in the scenario, would have been completely trashed. So realistically, if this was real, his leg would be amputated, because it's so badly traumatised, they wouldn't probably be able to save that. So the scenario was, we want to make his leg, unsavable. Face screen there. Just a nice simple face injury, hand injury. Okay, oh, why isn't that working? Right, can I go on the internet quickly? Oh, okay, so I've just talked about something that's really quite serious. So you're all probably sat there thinking, wow, this is what, and it is what goes on in the real world, and unfortunately we can't forget about that, and it's real life and that's what it is. But like I said, I do have a lot of fun at work, and I've got a video here on YouTube of guys messing around on a job. Okay. Oh, so just start it again. Yes, I checked, it's got no swearing in it. Yes, it's got no swearing, so you might not get it because you're really young. Some of the stuff they refer to, you'll probably be thinking, what's that? But I'm sure you would have learnt about it at school. How do I make it bigger? This one. Yes. It's only short, it's like 20 seconds. Okay.
No. What year? 2007. Yeah. Vietnam? No. Tottenham.
Okay, so I bet you all sort of sat there like, what is that? So Vietnam, there was a war in Vietnam.
That was in the 60s.
Yeah, so that was a long, long time ago. So he's messing around saying, where did you lose your leg? And he's like, Nam. What, Vietnam? He's like, no, Tottenham. London, Tottenham. So you're a bit young, but I thought I'd just show you that we do have a lot of, we do have a lot of fun whilst I'm also doing serious stuff. They're always messing around doing ridiculous things like that all day long, videoing themselves and just doing stupid things. And what I found with working with amputees, they are, it's really nice actually, because it's taught people. They're very, very strong people. Like the things that happen to them, you sit there and you think, God, if that had happened to me, I wouldn't know what to do, I wouldn't be able to deal with it, I'm not sure I could cope. Well, actually, I look at them and I think I've got nothing in life to worry or moan about ever, because they're such strong people and they're very funny, and they get on with things and they just deal with what's happened to them.
What they've been trained to do.
What have they been trained to do?
Yeah, to lock away their emotions and just get on with it.
Yeah, there is that. A lot of some of them.
No training in life can prepare you to lose an arm.
No, some of them do obviously have those days where they feel sad and they don't know why it happened to them and why was I in that car that day or why did I get blown up at war. They have those days, but also they have days where they're absolutely fine about it. Some of the guys I work with, it happened to them at quite a young age, so they're obviously a lot older now, 40s, 50s, so they can't remember really, they can't remember when they had that leg. So they've just got on, one of the guys, the one in the video, the one that was sat in the front, he was playing on a railway line when he was 5 and got electrocuted, and that's how he lost his leg. And I asked him, I said, do you remember having that? He said, I was 5. He's 46 now, and he doesn't remember losing his leg, he doesn't remember anything like that. So he's obviously grown up in life with just having it as a normal thing. Others obviously are a lot more traumatic that the incidents that's happened in, but obviously they've learned to live with that and carry on their everyday lives. So yeah, I'm going to do a demonstration. I'm just going to start. I'm going to start this silicone. It just takes it takes about 5 minutes.